Hello everyone. Welcome to another live sessions on Prasuti and Stri Roga. I hope you all been getting benefits through our live sessions through Tadvidya Sambhasha Facebook page. Today in this lecture, we will discuss about the topic clinical aspects of Yoni Vyapat, or clinical approach towards Yoni Vyapat. Yoni Vyapat is one among big topic in Stri Roga Vijnana, and we'll get lots of references. We'll get lots of references from our Samhitas. Like Charaka has explained Yoni Vyapat in Charaka Chikitsa Sthana of 30th chapter, and Sushruta has explained in 38th chapter of Uttarasthana, and so on. So in many other acharyas like Vagbhata, Nagarjuna and Harita have explained about, and even Bhav Prakasha also explained about Yoni Vyapat Prakarana. Yoni Vyapat. It is a combination of two words, Yoni and Vyapat. So Yoni generally equated with vagina, as we all know, as we studied in anatomical aspects of female genital system. So Yoni is equated with the vagina, but here we should see in a broader dimension. That is, sometimes Yoni is referred as a whole female genital system, or sometimes it is equated with different parts, like sometimes it is equated with cervix or with uterus, or sometimes with ovaries, and sometimes with the whole genital female system. That means in different contexts it is equated with the different parts of a female genital system. And Vyapat means any diseases or any pathological condition or abnormality. So Yoni Vyapat means a disease, a pathological condition which is based on female genital system is referred as Yoni Vyapat. And both Yoni Rogas and Yoni Vyapat are explained in our Samhitas. Yoni Vyapats are an entity. It's not related to, or it is not confined to only the local symptoms or local disorders. As I said, both Yoni Rogas and Yoni Vyapatas are explained in our Samhitas. Yoni Rogas are like Yoni Kanda or Yoni Arsha or Mutratisara or Somaroga. So all these are said to be Yoni Rogas. In this, the patients will come with a complaints of localized symptoms, but Yoni Vyapatas are referred to, sometimes it is referred to localized disorders, and also it is referred to systemic disorders. So if we go through with entire Yoni Vyapats, it includes most of the gynecological disorders, like starting with the dysmenorrhea, and also some systemic disorders like infertility, what we call as Pandyatva, and it also includes genital organ prolapse, and also retroverted uterus, and also some complications like Putragni Yoni Vyapat, that is what we call as habitual abortion or repeated abortion. So most of the gynecological disorders are explained under one heading or under one blanket, that is Yoni Vyapat. And next, the Sankhya of Yoni Vyapat, or number of Yoni Vyapat. Vimshatir Yoni Vyapado Yonir Dirtishte Roga Sangraha. That means all our acharyas has accepted unanimously, that is the number of Yoni Vyapat, or Sankhya of Yoni Vyapat is Vimshati, that is it is 20 in number. As like in other diseases like Prameha and Kushta, like Prameha is said to be 20 in number, but if you go through the classification like Vadaja Prameha, Pittaja Prameha or Kafaja Prameha, the classification is different according to different authors. And in Kushta, that is Mahakushta and Kshudra Kushta, so classification is different, but the number is the same, that is Prameha is of 20 number and Kusha is of 18 number. Likewise, Yonivapad, the classification is according to different acharyas are different, but all they have accepted the number of Yonivapad is 20 or Vimshati. So the Sankhya of Yonivapad is Vimshati in number, that is 20 in number. And Samanya Nidana of this Yonivapad. What are the Samanya Nidanas of this Yonivapad? Charaka explains that मिथ्याचारेण ताः स्त्रीणां प्रदुष्टेन आर्तवेन च जायन्ते बीजदोषाच्च दैवाच्च शृणु ताः पृथक्. So there are mainly 4 factors which are responsible for this Yoni Vyapad. So one is Mithya Achara and second one is Dushta Artava or Pradushta Artava. Third one is Bijadosha and fourth one is Daivaja or Daiva Prakopaja. So, what is Mithya Acharan or Mithya Aharan Vihara? As an Ayurvedic person, we already known about this. What is Mithya Ahara or Mithya Vihara? So, Mithya Ahara, that is, which includes Atyashana, that is excessive eating. Not only in a quantity, but also excessive eating in a considering within a eating a high calorie foods. And Vishamashana, that is eating without considering the Agni. And also Viruddha Ahara Sevana, that is incompatible food, that is eating a incompatible food. And also Pramitashana, that is eating less or very less calorie foods. So these are comes under Mithya Ahara. And Mithya Viharas, like Mithya Vihara means abnormal mode of living. Usually today's life is mostly towards the sedentary life habits. Sedentary life habits, that means without doing any physical activities, that is sitting in a one place for longer time. कुछ भी physical activities से बिना ना करके एक ही जगह में बैठ के काम करना. So all these are said to be sedentary life habits. So sedentary life habits is one of the most important cause of which comes under abnormal mode of life or Mithya Achara. And also other which is said to be mainly directly causes are doing excessive coitus, that is intercourse in abnormal posture or abnormal position, and doing excessive coitus in uneven bed, and also using apadravyas. Apadravyas are artificial objects for sexual gratification. So this leads to any inflammation or infection in the vaginal region, and eventually it leads to any kind of yoni vapads or yoni rogas. And also there is one more reason, that is manasika bhavas. That means krodha, shoka, that is any stress in the home or any stress in the workplace. All it leads to prakopana of dosha, and again it will causes any metabolic disorders or like any endocrinological disorders like hypothyroidism or any PCOD or PCOS or obesity or dysmenorrhea like thing. So all these are the nidhanas of yoni vapa, that is which comes under mithya achara and mithya vihara. And second one is pradushta artava. Pradushta artava, here artava refers to both rajorupi artava and bijarupi artava. So one is rajorupi artava, that is which can take it as a endometrial pathology, and another one is ovarian hormones. So both in disturbances in these ovarian hormones and both disturbances in endometrial pathology, it leads to pradushta artava, and eventually it leads to many types of yoni rogas or yoni vyapadas. And third one is bija dosha. So here bija dosha means chromosomal abnormality. So bija here it is usually bija refers to ovum. So here we can take it as a genetic abnormality or any kind of chromosomal abnormality. Which one artava dushti, that is shandi yoni vapad, it is mainly because of genetic disorders or chromosomal abnormality, that is which is may be compared with the Turner syndrome. And fourth one is Daiva Prakopaja or Daivaja, or it is said to be a idiopathic causes or unknown causes. Sometimes for any other yoni rogas, that is which consider infertility, so in most of the cases, in spite of female factors or male factors, in most of the time, that is up to 30% of infertility will be due to an unknown cause or idiopathic cause. So that can taken it as a Daivaja or Daiva Prakopaja. So this is one of the Nidanas. So as I said, there are mainly 4 factors or 4 Nidanas which occurs or which leads to Yoni Vapat. One is Mithya Achara, that is which includes both the Mithya Ahara and Mithya Vihara. And second one is Dushta Artava or Pradushta Artava. And third one is Bija Dosha, that is chromosomal or genetic abnormality. And fourth one is Daiva Prakopaja or Daivaja. Next we'll move on to, as I said, Yoni Vapats are 20 in number, and it is classified under Vataja Yoni Vapat, Pittaja Yoni Vapat, Kafaja Yoni Vapat and Sanipataja Yoni Vapat. And we will study, so in later classes and in this class also we will study the individual Yoni Vapat. So the first one is Vataja Yoni Vyapat or Vatala. Charaka had called it as a Vatala or Vatiki, and Sushruta has also explained about this Vataja Yoni Vapat. So Vataja Yoni Vapat is a clinical condition mainly characterized by dryness, roughness and stiffness in the vagina. And further, Charaka has explained Nidana and Samprapti of Vataja Yoni Vyapat. He quotes that Vatala Ahara Cheshtaya Vatalaya Samiranaha Vivrutto Yoni Mashritya. This is the main Nidana and Samprapti of Vataja Yoni Vapat. He explains Vatala Ahara Cheshtaya. That means whenever a Vata Prakriti lady, a lady with a Vata Prakriti or Vata predominance of Prakriti, whenever she is indulging in a Vatakara Ahara and Vihara. Like you all know about the what are all the Vatakara Ahara Vihara, like Ratri Jagaranam, Krodha, Shoka, all these Manasika Nidanas, and eating excessive Ruksha Padarthas or excessive like Pramitashana, that is eating dry substances. So, or all this leads to Vata Prakopa in a person. So whenever a Vata Prakriti person indulges in a or consumes a Vatakara Ahara and Vihara, this leads to aggravation of Vata dosha, and it takes Sthana Sanshraya in the Yoni Pradesha. Vatala Ahara Cheshtaya Vatalaya Samiranaha Vivruddho Yoni Mashritya, and leads to so many symptoms, that is Yonistoda Savedanam. So the main symptom of Vataja Yoni Vyapad is Yonistoda Savedanam, that is a pricking pain sensation in the Yoni Pradesha, that is in pelvic region and also in a lower backache region and also in a lower abdominal region. And second one is Karoti Suptim Ayasam or Vatajas Chaparan Gatan Supti, that is numbness in the yoni, and also other symptoms like Karkashata, Yoni Karkashata, that is roughness in the vagina, and also Stabdata, that is stiffness in the vagina. So all these are Rukshata, Karkashata and Stabdata and Supti, and this, that is numbness. So all these are due to Vata Prakopa factors. And another one very important symptom, Pipilika Suptim Iva. Pipilika Suptim Iva means a lady feels, a woman feels a sensation of creeping of ants. जैसे ants, that is चिटिया चलने तब वो सेंसेशन होता है जैसे फील करती है लेडी इन द योनि प्रदेश. So it is one of the main neurological symptoms, that is which refers to the Vata dosha. So these are all some important symptoms which is said under Vataja Yoni Vyapad. Yonistoda, Savedanam, Karkashata, Stabdata, and Supti, and Pipilika Suptim Iva, and also Ayasa, some generalized symptoms like she also feels like a Ayasa, that is uneasiness or fatigue. So looking to these symptoms, so all these are symptoms which is usually seen in a menopausal woman. Menopausal woman means after menopause is a condition after stoppage of a menstruation for more 6 months or more than 6 months. She is said to be a menopausal woman. So all these symptoms, what they have explained under Vataja Yoni Vapor, we will see these symptoms in a menopausal woman due to estrogen deficiency. Yes, estrogen is a ovarian hormone which helpful in or which helps the to maintain the vaginal flora, and also it moistens the vaginal surfaces. Estrogen helps to moistens the vaginal surfaces. That means always some secretions will produces from the glands of the वेजाना. जो भी ग्लैंड्स या सेल्स वेजनल सेल्स जो रहता है वो सिक्रीट करने के लिए जो सम काइंड ऑफ सिक्रीशंस को देने के लिए या पीएच वेजनल पीएच को मेंटेन करने के लिए या वेजनल फ्लोरा को मेंटेन करने के लिए ये एस्ट्रोजन हार्मोन हेल्प करता रहता है. तो बट whenever a woman approaches the menopausal period, this estrogen deficiency will takes place. Normally estrogen deficiency will takes place. This is the physiological condition. So because of this estrogen deficiency, the woman always suffer from a dryness of the vagina and stiffness and numbness in the vagina. So that means this can be correlated with vaginal neuralgia. This Vataja Yoni Vapad can be correlated with vaginal neuralgia. And also we have seen the symptoms like pricking pain in the vaginal region and also in the pelvic region. So based on this symptom, this Vataja Yoni Vapad can also be compared with or correlated with endometriosis. Endometriosis, it is a clinical condition. Endometriosis is a clinical condition where a presence of functioning endometrium other than the normal sites. So other than the normal sites means like it can be present on the ovaries or sometimes on the fallopian tubes and uterosacral ligaments, and also the extra abdominal regions, like it can also present on the scar of the hysterotomy or scar of episiotomy, all those things. And also in a very rare situation or very, very rare condition, it can also be present in the kidneys, ureters and pleura, and also sometimes in the arms. So these are the some sites of endometriosis. So as I said, endometriosis is a clinical condition where presence of functioning endometrium other than the normal sites. So ये सारे sites होते हैं. So coming to pathophysiology, these endometrial cells which grows in other sites are not a cancerous cells. That means endometriosis is a benign condition still. It is not a cancerous cells, but malignant transformation is possible in future. And if we see in the pathophysiology, these endometrial cells which are grows in another sites, that is which grows in a new sites, that is in ovaries or else in the fallopian tubes, have got potentiality to growth and also break down under the influence of estrogen and progesterone hormone. So as you all know, endometrium is a inner lining of the uterus. Yes, uterus has got 3 layers, that is one is outer perimetrium and middle myometrium, that is which is called as a muscular layer, and the inner lining is called as endometrium, that is usually shuts down during the time of menstruation. This shedding of the endometrium or breakdown of the endometrium is due to progesterone hormone, and after the shedding, that is after the stoppage of menstruation, again this endometrium layer will proliferates, or growth will takes place, and this growth is under the influence of estrogen hormone. So normally ये जो normal काम uterus lining के अंदर, that is endometrium की तरफ होता रहता है, but here what happens in endometriosis, it starts growing in other than the normal sites like in ovaries or fallopian tubes. So, and as I said, it is a functioning endometrium only. That means it has got potentiality to growth and also breaks down under the influence of both of these ovarian hormones. So whenever this growth will takes place and afterwards it will break down. So because of जो ऐसे ब्रेक डाउन होने के बाद देर इज नो स्पेस टू एस्केप ऑफ दिस जो भी एंडोमेट्रियल फ्रैगमेंट्स, ये सारे एंडोमेट्रियम फ्रैगमेंट्स जो भी ब्रेक डाउन होता है, दैट मीन्स ब्लीडिंग जो शुरू होता है उसको एस्केप होने के लिए कहाँ पे भी जगह नहीं मिलता है. सो दैट्स वाई it leads to internal hemorrhage and it results in pelvic scarring and adhesions and also pelvic congestion. So this is the entire pathophysiology. So after breakdown of this new endometrial cells or new endometrial tissue, it will breaks down and it leads to internal hemorrhage, and finally it leads to endometrial pelvic scarring और pelvic adhesions. Adhesions means जो भी adhesion structures रहता है, ligaments या जो भी tissues होता है pelvic का, वहाँ पे चिपक जाता है, pelvic adhesions, and also it leads to pelvic congestion. The main cause behind this endometriosis is, one is retrograde menstruation. Retrograde, that is backward या पीछे जाना. So during menstruation, so usually the uterine blood flows in a downward direction, but in this condition, during the menstruation time, the uterine blood flows backwards towards the fallopian tubes and ovary. So that's why, due to this retrograde menstruation theory, the endometrial fragments or endometrial cells move towards the fallopian tubes and ovary and get implanted on that structure. And also it can be another reason, that is direct implantation. That means in a susceptible individual, these endometrial fragments go and get implanted in the scar of hysterotomy, or sometimes a scar of episiotomy also. And through the lymphatic drainage or through the venous drainage, it can reach up to pleura, lungs, or sometimes arms of the arms region also. So this is about causes or etiology and pathophysiology behind the endometriosis. So what will be the patient profile? So in which age of the patient we can see the endometriosis? So we can see endometriosis around 30 to 40 years of age. So in this age group only we can see the endometriosis, not in a menopausal condition or not in adolescent girls. We can't see this condition, only it can be seen around 30 to 40 years of age. And the main clinical features are, one is dysmenorrhea, that is painful menstruation and irregular menstruation, and also another third symptom is infertility, that is a lady cannot be conceived. This is mainly due to pelvic scarring and pelvic adhesions which fail you to, or it leads to implantation failure. And another one symptom is dyspareunia, that is difficulty during coital act or painful coital act. And also sometimes it leads to painful micturition and painful defecation also. Whenever if it is endometrial tissues, it is associated with a ureter, or if it is associated with a rectovaginal septum, then it leads to difficulty in micturition and also difficulty during defecation. So these are all some symptoms of endometriosis. So how can we detect this endometriosis? The one and only, the gold standard investigation to detect this endometriosis is through laparoscopy. Yes, by doing laparoscopy only we can detect the endometriosis. And next come to treatment part. So as I said, the main symptom is dysmenorrhea or painful menstruation. So we can use some NSAIDs to get rid of pain, that is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and also we can give some hormonal medicines like nordestrone or GnRH analogs to reduce the pain, and also to reduce the or to destroy the growth of endometrium medically. And another one, if medicinal treatment fails, we can go for surgical procedure. So one in that the conservative surgical methods are, one is adhesiolysis. Adhesiolysis means resection of or to cut the adhesions, जो भी adhesions जो रहता है उसको कट करने के लिए, उसको निकालने के लिए एक सर्जिकल मेथड को हम चूज करते हैं, that is called as adhesiolysis. And second one is ablation. Ablation is a surgical procedure where the endometrial glands or endometrial tissues are destroyed, the destruction of endometrial tissues with the help of laser vaporization. So this is called as endometrial ablation. And apart from this, if all these surgical methods are fails, or consider if she's already completed her family and the age is also around 40 years, so we can go for hysterectomy. That too, hysterectomy with bisalpingo-oophorectomy, that is removal of uterus along with ovaries and fallopian tubes, both the sides. So that is called as hysterectomy with bilateral salpingo-oophorectomy. So this is all about endometriosis. So usually in Ayurvedic clinics, if a woman is suffering from this kind of symptoms, we generally prefer as Vatahara purpose, we can prescribe Dashmula Rishta, or also we can prescribe Gandharva Hastadi Kashaya. As if it is in a mild condition, or if the implanted endometrial glands are very mild in nature, or it is very small, then also to destroy that we can prescribe Varnadi Kashayam or Kanchana Ragugulu or anything like that we can prescribe during this condition. And coming to treatment part of Vataja Yoni Vyapad, Charaka has explained the treatment of Vataja Yoni Vyapad is Trivratam Snehanam Svedo Gramyaudaka Anuparasaha Trivrattena Anuvasyascha Bastischa Uttara Sangnita. Yes, Trivrat Sneha, Trivratam Snehanam Svedo. Trivrat Sneha is very beneficial. As we all know, Snehana is one of the best therapy in Vata condition to mitigate to reduce the Vata. But not only simple Snehana, they have prescribed Trivrat Sneha, that is Trivrat Sneha is a mixture of three Sneha, that is one Gruta Taila Arvasa or Gruta Taila Majja, because here Vata is very Prabala dosha, so we are giving Trivrat Sneha here. So considering Haragni, we have to prescribe Trivrat Sneha in the form both orally, that is Snehapana, and also in the form of Uttarbasti. And followed by Trivrat Sneha, Svedana here. The preferable Svedana is both the Kumbhi Sveda and Nadi Sveda with any Vatahara Dravyas like Dashamula, etc. After Snehana, we can prescribe or we can follow with Yoni Pichu. So to reduce any, so as I said, it is a localized symptoms is more, that is like stiffness of the vagina and roughness and dryness in the vagina. So better to choose some Sthanika Chikitsa like Yoni Pichu with the help of Tila Taila. Tila Taila is very much helpful during this condition. And also Pana, that is Panartha or Mamsa Rasa, which is prepared out of Gramya Audaka Mamsa, that is aquatic animals. We can prepare some Mamsa Rasa or meat soup and we can consume that. So this is all about the Chikitsa of Vataja Yoni Vyapad. and correlation part also. So next move on to another one condition, that is Udavartini Yoni Vyapat. Both Acharya Charaka and Sushruta explained Udavartini under Vataja Yoni Vyapat. Sorry for interruption. So as I said, both Acharya Charaka and Acharya Sushruta has explained Udavartini under Vataja Yoni Vyapat. So Udavartini is a clinical entity or a clinical condition mainly characterized with painful menstruation or difficulty during menstruation. Charaka explains further, if by seeing this quotation we can easily understand about the Nidana and Samprapti of Udavartini Yoni Vyapat. Charaka quotes that Vego Udavartanat Yonim Udavartayate Anilaha. That means the main reason or main cause behind this Udavartini Yoni Vyapat is Vego Udavartana, that is suppression of natural urges, and mainly suppression of fecal, suppression of flatus and suppression of urine. So these are the main nidanas for Udavartini Yoni Vyapat. Vego Udavartanat Yonim Udavartayate Anilaha, and it results in the aggravation of Vata dosha. So because of this suppression of natural urges, it leads to Vata prakopa or vriddhi of Vata dosha. Why it becomes, why this suppression of natural urges will cause Vata vriddhi means, it is simple, because as we all know, the function of apana vayu is Shukrartava Shakran Mutra Garbha Nishkramana Kriyaha. That means apana vata, which is situated in the Pakvashaya Pradesha, which always helps in Nishkramana of Shukra, Artava, Mutra, and also excretion of the fecal matter and excretion of the urine, and also Shukra and Artava. So whenever we will do the suppression of natural urges, it leads to Vata Prakopana of the Vata, and this Vata flows in a upward movement, or it leads to Pratiloma or Viloma Gati of this Vayu. So normally Apana Vata, so Anuloma Gati में जो जाता रहता है, due to this suppression of natural urges, it will get Prakopana and leads to Pratiloma Gati of or Anuloma Gati of this Vayu. And whenever this Anuloma Gati of Vayu, it reaches the Yoni Pradesha, and also it reaches the Yoni Pradesha and causes the pain during menstruation. So, Sarugartaha Rajaha Kruchrena Udavratam Vimunchati. Sarugartaha Rajaha, that means it is associated with Ruga, that is Ruk, that is pain, painful menstruation. Sarugartaha Rajaha Kruchrena Udavratam Vimunchati. जो आर्तवा का excretion होता है, that means it will Nishkramana will take place, but it is excreted or menstruation will be very painful or with very difficulty. Kruchra refers to difficulty or very painful menstruation will be present. So Vego Udavartanat Yonim Udavartayate Anilaha Sa Rugartaha Rajaha Kruchrena Udavratam Vimunchati. So after that, so whenever this Raja goes in upward direction, and sometimes it will comes or it will excrete through the body or through the vagina. So in that time, Artave sa vimukti, that means after the excretion of this Artava, the lady or a woman feels a relief from the pain. So Artave sa vimukti tatshanam labate sukham. Tatshanam labate sukham means for some period she will feels a relief symptom, that is relief from the pain. And as this Raja goes upward due to this Pratiloma Gati of Vayu, this condition is said to be Udavarta or Udavartini Yoni Vyapat. So this is about the Nidana and Samprapti of Udavartini Yoni Vyapat. So looking to all these symptoms and pathology, so it can be correlated with a condition called dysmenorrhea. Yes, dysmenorrhea is a clinical condition characterized with painful menstruation or difficulty during menstruation so as to incapacitates the day-to-day activities. So incapacitates the day-to-day activities means जो भी अगर lady or a girl which is suffering from dysmenorrhea condition, जो भी डेली एक्टिविटीज़ जो रहता है, स्कूल जाना, कॉलेज जाना, या कुछ भी हाउस होल्ड वर्क करना, या कुछ भी इफ़ शी वांट्स टू प्ले और एनीथिंग, और इफ़ शी वांट्स टू रीड, or if she wants to write anything, she doesn't bear all this situation or doesn't follow all this physical activities because of this pain. So this condition, a painful menstruation, which incapacitates her day-to-day activities or day-to-day physical activities. And then the dysmenorrhea is mainly of two types. One is primary dysmenorrhea and secondary dysmenorrhea. Primary dysmenorrhia also said to be a spasmodic dysmenorrhia, and second one, that is secondary dysmenorrhea, is also called as congestive dysmenorrhea. So first we'll move on to spasmodic type of dysmenorrhea, that is primary dysmenorrhea. So here the main cause behind the pain is due to uterine contraction, and it is caused by a chemical called, or a local hormone called, prostaglandins. As prostaglandins are a type of phospholipids which is synthesized in the endometrium under the influence of estrogen and progesterone. So prostaglandins जो एक हार्मोन, लोकल हार्मोन या जैसे एक केमिकल होता है which helps in the contraction of the uterus. So always during the entire reproductive life, the uterus of a female will contract, and this contract जो भी एक contraction होने के लिए, uterus का contraction होने के लिए, this prostaglandins will helps. So whenever if there is a increased amount of prostaglandins in the body, this leads to dysrhythmic uterine contraction or abnormal uterine contraction. So because of this, it leads to uterine hypoxia. Uterine hypoxia means reduction of oxygen to the, or reductions or cutting of oxygen supply to the uterine muscles. And because of this hypoxic condition in the uterine muscles, it leads to severe pain. So that results in a spasmodic type of dysmenorrhea. So it's called as primary dysmenorrhea. So this is the main cause behind spasmodic dysmenorrhea. And it is mostly confined to the adolescent girls and ovulatory cycles. And if you see the symptoms, it is this type of spasmodic dysmenorrhea. Usually the pain will, the onset of pain will starts, or pain starts before the onset of menstruation, and it ends beyond 48 hours. So menstruation शुरू होने से पहले ही पेन शुरू हो जाता है, और उसके बाद 48 आवर्स तक या 2 दिन तक पेन लगातार रहता है. So this is a symptom regarding primary dysmenorrhea. And pain will confine to the lower abdomen, and sometimes it radiates to the lower back and also to the medial aspects of the thigh region. So generally called it as a menstrual cramps. So cramps जैसे pain, a spasmodic pain will confine to the lower abdomen and lower back and also to the medial aspects of the thigh region. And it is also associated symptoms of this primary dysmenorrhea are maybe she feels like a nausea, vomiting and diarrhea, and also sometimes in a severe condition maybe she also suffers from syncope and collapse. So these are all symptoms of primary dysmenorrhea. So what is the treatment of primary dysmenorrhea is? Treatment of primary dysmenorrhea, one we can the first and foremost line of treatment is psychotherapy by doing counseling, that is ashwasana. So giving ashwasana to the patient and also to the patient attenders is very important. And we can prescribe prostaglandin synthetase inhibitors drugs. So that is usually what we prescribe, that is mefenamic acid, or we can also prescribe ibuprofen. So if at all, if lady or patient who is failed to respond to these inhibitors, prostaglandin inhibitors drugs. So in that case, we can prescribe some oral hormonal tablets like which contains both the estrogen and progesterone, which is going to helpful in primary dysmenorrhea condition. And move on to secondary dysmenorrhea. Secondary dysmenorrhea is as I said, it is also called as congestive type of dysmenorrhea. It is mainly associated with some pelvic pathology. So cause behind this secondary dysmenorrhea are due to endometriosis or adenomyosis. So you already well known about the endometriosis and adenomyosis, and it is also due to IUCD in the uterus. IUCD means intrauterine contraceptive devices like any copper T or LNG IUS like that, and also due to uterine fibroids, the fibroid uterus, and also sometimes due to chronic pelvic infection, so or pelvic inflammatory diseases. So and also due to cervical stenosis, that is narrowing of the cervical canal. जो जब cervical canal या stenosis जो रहता है, so वहाँ से ज़्यादा bleeding या menstruation blood जाना बहुत ही तकलीफ हो जाता है. So इसलिए women will feel some kind of pain during this secondary type of dysmenorrhea or congestive dysmenorrhea. So as I said, secondary dysmenorrhea always associated with some pelvic pathology. And as I said, it is usually refers to a Paris woman. Secondary dysmenorrhea usually confined to the Paris woman. That means जो भी एक या दो डिलीवरी जो किसी को होता है, in that case only we can see the secondary dysmenorrhea cases. And also the pain will confine to lower abdomen region and lower back region, and pain will start before 2 to 3 days the onset of menstruation, and it will subsides after when menstruation starts. जो यहाँ पे क्या होता है, pain 2 to 3 days before onset of menstruation, जो 2 या 3 दिन पहले पेन शुरू हो जाता है, और उसके बाद जब menstruation शुरू हो जाता है तो तब पेन सबसाइड हो जाता है. So this is about secondary dysmenorrhea, patient pattern of secondary dysmenorrhea. And treatment is the treatment section which confined to what is the cause. That means we have to treat according to the cause of the patient. So if she is underwent any IUCD insertion, so in that case we can remove that IUCD, and obviously the pain will subside. Or if she is suffering from any endometriosis, so we have to treat the endometriosis first, then the pain will subside. And if at all a uterine fibroid is there, then we have to treat, or we have to remove that uterine fibroid, then this pain will subside. So that means we have to treat according to the cause of the condition. We have to treat this condition. So moving to treatment part of Udavartini Yoni Vapad, as it is explained under Vataja Yoni Vapad, so the treatment is as similar to the Vataja Yoni Vapad only, that is Trivrit Snehana. And as Trivrit Sneha can be used orally or Snehapana, and also we can use in the form of Uttarabasti also, and followed by Svedana. We have to do Svedana, and also in this they have explained Basti with the help of Dashamula Payor Bastischa. That means Basti with Kshira prepared out of Dashamula Dravyas. And also other than this, we can prescribe Gramya Udaka Anupa Rasa, that is a Mamsa Rasa prepared out of Gramya and Audaka Mamsas. So all this about treatment section of Udavartini Yoni Vyapad. I hope you all been getting, I hope you understood this section. So in later classes of live sessions, we will discuss about the individual Yoni Vyapads, other individual Yoni Vyapads like Putragni and Acharana Yoni Vyapad. So if you have any doubts about this, that is regarding Vataja Yoni Vyapad or Nidana of Yoni Vyapad and Udavartini Yoni Vyapad, or what I explained certain modern condition. If you have any doubts, you can ask regarding treatment or regarding any symptoms or regarding pathophysiology. You can ask the doubts. Or if you want to watch the video again, please follow the Tadvidya Sambhasha Facebook page, and you can, with post in that, you can easily watch with your friends also. So to conclude, I will summarize once again. So yoni vapadas are a pathological condition or any disease or disorders which is related with the female genital system, and it is 20 in number, that is Vimshati. It is very important for entrance exams. So they may be tricks the question like according to Sushruta the number of yoni vapades. So according to Charaka, according to Sushruta, Vagbhata, Bhav Prakasha, any acharyas who take the number of yoni vapads according to any acharyas is 20 only. And next we have discussed about Vataja yoni vapad. So Vataja yoni vapad is a condition characterized mainly with a dryness, roughness and stiffness in the vagina, and it is correlated with the vaginal neuralgia, and also it is correlated with endometriosis. And second one is Udavartini yoni vapad. Udavartini yoni vapad generally characterized with a painful or difficulty during menstruation, and it is correlated with dysmenorrhea, and dysmenorrhea is of two types, mainly primary and secondary dysmenorrhea, and we have also discussed about the treatment section of the dysmenorrhea. I hope you all understood about this topic. I would like to thank organizers of Tadvidya Sambhasha to giving this opportunity. Thank you one and all.